crime intelligence members hold some of the most powerful resources in this country. You can die, your life can be destroyed. That's the outcome. A general in the South African Police Service, whom we believe was assassinated, he was poisoned with castor resin, assassinated and buried under a lie of COVID-19.
He had been in contact with you regarding an investigation. What was he investigating?
He then said to me, look, I'm busy with an investigation. It involves senior police officials. He said, "Ngamasela laba bantu mfana kithi. Ngamasela laba bantu." And he mentions the amount.
I know they are listening. I don't care. Mfana kithi, laba bantu bangamasela, dizobabamba bonke.
He said the rot is there with officials, senior officials, generals, there at head office.
The following week, he received a call from one of his drivers that the general was dead. The official cause of death was COVID-19.
I then phoned the driver again. What's going on there? And he says, no, there are people here from head office who are taking the documents of General Mfazi. His body is still upstairs. They haven't even cleaned the blood that's there. They're taking these files.
I thought he died from COVID-19. Blood would insinuate that. Okay.
There was blood there. This man had been poisoned with castor resin, which explains why there was blood in that room. Because the man was choking in his own blood. We all owe death a visit, but not this way.
We are now at paragraph 58 of your statement. And there you speak about the covert assassination of Lieutenant General Sindile Mfazi in 2021. Prior to his assassination, what we know, as you've testified, is that you had left the SAPS at the time, but you also testified that you'd kept in contact. What was happening?
I think at this moment it's important, Honorable Chair, that I make this call. That this, Honorable Chair, is a Mayday call. This is a Mayday call and the last radio call for a general in the South African Police Service, whom we believe was assassinated, whom the forensic evidence that was found after a court-ordered exhumation said that he was poisoned with castor resin. I am making this Mayday call as a plea to Parliament, because it is Parliament that elects the President. It is the President who, upon his inauguration, is flanked by the armed forces of this country. He is flanked by army generals. He is flanked by police generals. And when they salute that flag and salute the President, they pledge their life to this country, to this flag. And this is true of all officers who serve in this country. And when one of those generals, General Mfazi, Lieutenant General Mfazi was one of those generals. When one of those generals is assassinated and buried under a lie of COVID-19, it demands of us as citizens to speak to those who are in power, to plead with you, because we are powerless, to say, do something. It has been 5 years.
Mr. Dotyeni, I don't mean to interrupt your flow, but in your statement, what we know is that at the time that just shortly before General Mfazi was, whether he died or whether he was killed, he had been in contact with you regarding an investigation. Perhaps to give context to what you are speaking about and calling Mayday. What was he investigating? And just could you take us through that investigation?
Yes, Honorable Chair. The beginning of 2020, the year 2020. General Mfazi made contact with me. I was outside of the police. He called me. I could hear that I'm on speakerphone. He then asked, Mfanagit, are you able to record keystrokes and record what these people are doing? There's a particular office we need to make sure we understand what it is exactly that they're doing. I said, but General, you know I can do that. But I did not go beyond that because I could hear I'm on speakerphone here. I'm outside of the police now. I don't understand the plan. So we disconnect. Hardly 3 months later, they were burying a constable or a warrant officer that had died somewhere in Lusikisiki. He was there with Minister Begikele. He stopped by my farm and he was there to change. He was wearing civilian clothes and he was there to change into his police uniform. After he changed, he said, look, when I was calling you, I was with Stol, Kesha Stol, the then general. You were on speaker because I asked him who he was with, you know. And he then said to me, look, I'm busy with an investigation. It involves senior police officials here in this SAPS. And that's where it ended. But my curiosity was around, what did you want me to do? Which offices? No, he says, no, SSA, Secret Services account, you know. And he left it at that.
So at the time he was investigating the Secret Services account, and you say that there was an investigation to the amount of 1.6 billion regarding COVID-19 PPE.
That is correct. So General Mfazi used to speak in a number of ways, man. But he spoke in Venek, basically.
Okay.
He said, "Ngamasela laba bantu mfanakit. Ngamasela laba bantu." And he mentions the amount, you see. And because he's a general, interactions with him sometimes were not as free as you would want. But he made that point very clear.
In your statement at paragraph 16, you say his words were defiant, and you open quotes, "I know they are listening, I don't care." He then said, with grave resolve, "Mfanagiti, laba bantu bangamasela, dizobabamba bonke. I'm going to need you, Mfanagiti. Something big is coming." That was the last time you say you spoke. But before that, you do also say that it was the investigation was at an advanced stage. Can you take us through that last conversation you had with him to what then transpired and what happened to him thereafter?
Yeah, so after he left that period, I think he was transferred to the Western Cape, where he was acting provincial commissioner here for a while. And during that period, I mean, I tried to go through my phone for phone records, but I mean, I can't find it now. But during that period, he was here in the Western Cape. He had continued to actually probe further what was taking place at head office. That's the...
Do you know specifically who he was investigating? You only mentioned that it was senior police officials, but who was he investigating?
There are people who know. And I'll point this comment to the right direction. There are people who know. But they are...
Do you have personal knowledge?
Honorable members, respectfully so, I know we all owe death a visit. But what is important to do is I would want to make these disclosures in a proper forum, you know. That is important because that is responsible investigation. I shouldn't just speak as if I'm not conscious of the threats that exist out there. But what is adamant is that the crime scene is there at head office. That's what the crime scene is at. That's what he was investigating. He's investigating the corruption and I'm not saying the entire head office. That's not what he said. He said the rot is there with officials, senior officials, generals, there at head office. That's where the problem is.
Mr. Dotyeni, we are almost out of our time, and I'd like to use the last 10 minutes to complete your statement. You say that the following week you received a call from one of his drivers at paragraph 61 that the general was dead, and the official cause of death that was given was COVID-19.
Yes. So I received two calls. The first was from, he had a number of drivers. The first was from one of his drivers in Johannesburg. He said to me, Paragit, Injengele, which is general, Injengele ngati hambile, yabona. I did not believe him. I did not think that he would tell me something that is proper. So I phoned the wife immediately. When I phoned the wife, she was still there at the house, the Pretoria residence. She says to me, Sandinjalo, upithu swelekile. And as she was speaking to me, the wife, you could hear there's people around her. And she at the time was saying, Yegeni phone anizoyiva, yegeni phone anizoyiva. What
does that mean?
Leave the cell phone. You are not going to have it. Leave
Okay.
the cell phone. You are not going to have it. I then phoned the driver again. What's going on there? And he says, no, there are people here from head office who are taking the documents of General Mfazi. His body is still upstairs. They haven't even cleaned the blood that's there. They're taking these files.
I thought he died from COVID-19. Blood would
There was
insinuate
blood.
that. Okay.
There was blood there. There was blood. Which is what brought these suspicions of foul play. The family was not happy. And I thank God that they ordered, they went as far as the courts to get the courts after the funeral to have a toxicology report or a postmortem done so that there can be forensic evidence that demonstrates what they suspect. And it was done.
This was after he was buried,
After he was buried.
which insinuates that how did that come about?
So the family, one of the family members is an advocate as well. So they then pushed for this report, the court actually to ensure that it is actually done, you know. So they went and dug him up,
Exhumed him.
exhumed him. The day that he was being exhumed, Cambridge SAPS members were notified. I know people at Cambridge SAPS. I will not mention who told me. I want them to live in peace. There at Cambridge SAPS, they were notified that the body of General Mfazi is being dug up or being exhumed, and they are going to now do this postmortem. Right, so it was done. An inquest was then opened after they found that there was casting resin in his system, which meant that the forensic evidence was saying that this man had been poisoned with casting resin, which explains why there was blood in that room, because the man was choking in his own blood. And when the inquest docket was opened at Cambridge SAPS, quietly, head office came, took the docket, and it went to be investigated at head office. You know what's that like? It's like saying criminal or you alleged person, here, the docket, investigate. Even if you have half of head office that is good people, great people, but you also have the other half that may not be good people. Now, you cannot take this very docket and give it to the institution that is supposedly alleged to have assisted or to have committed this very offense.
What was, at the time of his death, General Mfazi, what was his role within SAPS?
He was the lieutenant general. He was a lieutenant general, a deputy national commissioner, the
Deputy
second
National
deputy
Commissioner.
national commissioner.
Okay.
Above him was General Sindile. Then he reported first, I think, he reported to Minister Mbalula. Thereafter, he reported to Minister Cele. In fact, when after we buried General Mfazi, I met Minister Cele in KZN. And I said to General Cele, it wasn't a planned meeting. I met him in the street. So I went straight to him. I said, Pitso told me that he trained you in Angola. What are you doing about his death? And General Cele said, no, or Minister Cele said, no, we're investigating. We're going to investigate. The docket is at head office, and that's it.
It has been 5 years since he passed. What has come of the investigation?
What I know, Honorable Chair, because I phoned someone who knows the investigator before I came here. Nothing is happening. It's dying a slow death there. You know, if a deputy national commissioner who stood behind President Ramaphosa at his time of inauguration dies in that manner, choking in his own blood, and we don't turn this country upside down, we have a duty and a responsibility, especially to the family. Because Umalindi, the wife, says to me that evening, Uluto is the child, his youngest child at the time. Does this mean Woka Natata? You know? Those are the things that touch you and pain you, because, yes, I said earlier, we all owe death a visit, but not this way.
Mr. Dotyeni, you have testified that you suspect that this was related to the 1.6 billion corruption tender that has to do with, I think, the secret fund, PPE tender. Was it a tender or PPE corruption?
It wasn't necessarily one transaction.
Okay.
It was a variety of transactions, which is why he wanted me to record what was happening inside the SAPS at the time, but I couldn't.
From your, I know that you testified that you left SAPS in 2012. Do you have any knowledge of what has happened to that investigation, which is separate from his death? Just the investigation that he was busy with at the time of his death. Do you have any knowledge of what came of that investigation?
So his driver told me that officials from head office came as he lay deceased upstairs to take the dockets. The national commissioner at the time was General Ketla Sithole. He was the national commissioner. So he must actually, these people must actually say what it is that actually happened.